it turns out that Florida's first congressional representative, Matt Gaetz, may be one serious. We already know that he is being investigated by the Justice Department over whether he had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and paid for her to travel with him, possibly violating sex trafficking laws. If you don't listen to the War Room podcast with Al Hunt and Democrat strategist James Carville, I suggest you subscribe immediately, especially if you're enjoying all of this Matt Gaetz drama. Carville is having a lot of fun at Gaetz' expense, and he spares no words. I'm going to play you some excerpts right now. Again, this is from the podcast, The War Room. And remember, these are James Carville's sentiments. YouCantBeatBlue is in no way responsible for them, nor do we endorse them. We are simply passing them along in the service of the public.
Well, the first thing is, when you heard this, it was eminently believable. He looks like a perv.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not one of these guys you say, oh, I wouldn't believe that about him. I mean, that guy looks, I mean, from day one, I said, there's something wrong with that dude. That boy ain't right.
Well, how would you like that your daughter has a new date and knocks on the door and you open the front door and Matt Gaetz is standing there? I mean, you can look, that guy has got perv stamped right across his forehead. He is the weirdest guy. Is anybody really surprised about this?
Something wrong with that boy. There's something wrong. You just look at him, you know he's not right. He got perv written all over him. That's my best James Carville. This is why I didn't get on Saturday Night Live. In case you've forgotten, Matt Gaetz is the congressman who wore a gas mask on the floor of the House while Congress was trying to pass desperately an $8.3 billion emergency funding bill to fight coronavirus. There he is. You know what's sad about that photo? I bet she is really regretting thinking it would be cool to stand next to him.
All I ever wanted was for people to think that we were better than we were in high school.
Less than a week after posing for that photo stunt and posting it to Twitter, a 71-year-old man in Gaetz' own district became one of the first Americans to die of the virus. And then a little bit later, Gaetz himself had to quarantine for coronavirus. Matt Gaetz is in his late 30s, but he apparently hasn't grown out of being a college D-bag and a rich daddy's son. Maybe he suspected that the authentic personality he was born with wouldn't get him far in life, so he chose instead to adopt one of those I'll do anything for attention strategies to get his peers to accept him and to like him. I mean, didn't we all know someone like Matt Gaetz, especially if you went to college? He was the guy that would show up at the women's rallies on campus, proudly wearing his I Fart in Church t-shirt. He was the guy who would go running down the dorm room hall at midnight with his roommate's toothbrush hanging out of his ass. That's Matt Gaetz. Nothing Matt Gaetz does is for the good of the people in Florida, but rather for the attention it brings to Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is the guy who, if you remember, tweet threatened Michael Cohen just before Michael Cohen was going to testify about President Trump's illicit financial schemes. That menacing tweet, which read, "Do your wife and father-in-law know about your girlfriends? Maybe tonight would be a good time for that chat. She's about to learn a lot." Gaetz is very brave when he's hiding behind his keyboard, and that tweet won Matt Gaetz twin investigations by the Ethics Committee and the Florida State Bar. You see, you can withdraw the sex trafficking charges and still have a list of reasons to loathe Matt Gaetz. Here's another one. Remember House Resolution 306, the infamous pencil resolution to remove Democrat Adam Schiff as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee? This was Gaetz's bill, and it was a tribute to Donald Trump, who had called Schiff a little pencil neck. You see, House Resolution 306 is called the Preventing Extreme Negligence with Classified Information Licenses Act, or Pencil Act. Get it? Very clever, Matt Gaetz, and not at all a waste of taxpayer time or money. Matt Gaetz is a true A+ Trump lapdog. one of the biggest. We're talking a full-on, undisciplined, crotch-sniffing, yappy-farting, fuzzy coin purse of a man, complete with the little side head pom-poms and erection difficulties as a result of excessive inbreeding. Matt Gaetz regularly planted his perch over at Fox News to parrot Trump's lies, Trump's conspiracy theories, all the deep state paranoia, and general incoherent babble of former President Thumbhead. He defended Thumbhead's shithole countries comment. He was one of the biggest public stooges for Trump's tax plan. He supported Trump's decision to withdraw troops from northeastern Syria, and he called for charges to be brought against Nancy Pelosi for the very serious crime of giving it in the to a high school cheerleader behind the. No, Nancy Pelosi didn't actually do that. She just tore up Trump's State of the Union address. I'm not sure who in Congress is responsible for the cheerleader thing. Let me think on that one for a while. We'll just move on. When not mocking over 500,000 people who died from a pandemic, Gaetz spends the rest of his time trying to persuade your granddaughter to drop her panties around her ankles. He also sucks up taxpayer dollars, belittles his own office with shamelessly childish legislation, and gleefully makes beer runs for Trump and his fetid inner circle of fattened Florida low IQ ass pandas, hoping, praying that one day Matt Gaetz will finally be accepted. Because all of this is about one thing. Matt Gaetz knows that nobody likes him.
Matt Gaetz knows